Hi everybody, this is Jesse from the Cold Spring Harbor Library. For those of you that know me, I'm a circulation clerk, and I just want to sincerely express that I hope everyone is well during this time right now. I know it's kind of crazy, but in the interim, I have been tasked with kind of aggregating a bunch of movie recommendations, and I'll just give you a brief little background about myself. I went to school for film, and that's one of my primary passions. So I watch a lot of movies. And as a result of me watching movies, I have opinions, and most of them are pretty bad, but I'd like to share some recommendations if you'd allow. So as a Cold Spring Harbor Library member, you have access to a vast array of materials, which includes music, movies, TV, magazines. So that's going to be Hoopla. So for those of you who are not familiar with Hoopla, if you go on CSHLibrary.org and then you head over to this little Hoopla graphic and click that, it should direct you to the Hoopla program. So you click on that, and then you're going to be redirected to the Hoopla site. So all you really have to do is you have to create an account for yourself if you don't have one already. It's separate from my understanding to your library card. So you're going to have to create a username and a password, and then you're going to have to input your barcode on from your library card. So once you do that, you kind of get a screen that looks like this: movies, music, comic books. What we're going to do is actually browse the movies here. And then you kind of have a vast selection of movies. You can actually break it down by category if you're so inclined, release date. So it's kind of fun to play around with. For the movies, I believe that you have 3 days to watch them. You really don't incur any late fines with this. They're automatically going to be returned after that 3-day period is up. So this is really, it's kind of a cool platform to see. It's kind of a supplement to what Netflix might be, or Hulu, or Amazon Video, which are real popular platforms at the moment. So what I went and did was I reviewed a movie that you can find on here, which is No Country for Old Men. And it's a great movie. It's one of my favorite movies, and I actually rewatched it for the first time since it came out. So I guess this is going to be a very cursory overview and review of No Country for Old Men, because I strongly recommend it. Basically, it's about an indigent welder in Texas, in what I believe is 1980 Texas. It's a border town. And the protagonist is played by Josh Brolin. He kind of stumbles upon a large sum of money from a drug deal gone awry. He's seen a bunch of bodies surrounding a bunch of trucks, and he goes ahead and takes that money. So consequently, he's pursued by this hitman played by Javier Bardem, and it's really just a smart game of cat and mouse, and it's the ending is kind of ambiguous, but it's really one of those introspective films that it makes you think, and I really like just about every aspect of the film itself, starting with the simplicity of the presentation, of the minimalism. It's the dialogue is sparse. It's unornamented. The settings are predominantly these large navigable terrains, so it's kind of got this neo-Western type vibe, neo-Western, neo-noir type vibe, and it's just excellent. It's so atmospheric. The cast is incredible, starting with Josh Brolin as the protagonist, and Javier Bardem plays really one of these just abhorrent villains. I mean, he is one of the classic cinematic villains, I think, maybe in the history of film. He's a man of just precision, and he's cold and he's calculating, and my descriptions could never adequately do justice just to how sinister this character is. So the cat and mouse game between Javier Bardem and Josh Brolin's characters is really just riveting to watch, because Josh Brolin is so overmatched throughout this film, and it really stems from a simple premise that Josh Brolin takes this money because he's in need of the money, and he kind of refuses to relinquish the money. And Javier Bardem is this ruthless hitman who is assigned to retrieve the money, and he will stop at nothing to get that money back. Tommy Lee Jones is a supporting character that plays an aging sheriff, and I think that his character in particular is also a really compelling character, because he is kind of grappling with his inability to perform his job at this point in his life. He's an older sheriff. His methods are antiquated. He can't do what he did, and he's surrounded by really a younger generation of people. And again, it's the 1980s, 1980. So there's just this huge cultural shift, and he is just very out of place. And so thematically, that's one of these other compelling elements of the film. It's this small town sheriff that's kind of assigned to protect Josh Brolin. He can't do it. He kind of struggles with his own inabilities, his own. He's just really, at this point in his life, he's not capable of doing what he once was. So you have all of these different plot points that are intersecting, which is really, really interesting. And I'm not going to give away anything because it's really something that you have to watch for yourself. But it's just really fascinating cinema. And the Coen brothers directed it. They're famous for Fargo, for Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, another really, really cool neo-western called Blood Simple, which I think was the first film that they made. So as you can see on the poster itself, the winner of 4 Academy Awards for Best Picture, the acting, the cinematography, everything is just excellent. And I just, again, it's the overall grittiness of the film that really, it's just this unromantic depiction of this real run-down, ramshackle border town in Texas. And I just have a few stills here. This is kind of what I was talking about, that really sort of encapsulates that just open vibe, terrains that are very difficult to navigate. There's a line in the movie where some of the sheriffs and deputies have difficulty actually getting across the terrain because they say that they don't have vehicles that are capable of traversing. So, there's a lot of scenes that are reminiscent of a Western. You have these really sprawling expanses of land. Woody Harrelson's in there as well. He doesn't really play a major role, but it's just great. It's just really great. The lighting is great. Everything is just minimal. You can kind of see here. And that's really sort of a conscious effort from the filmmakers, that they just want to they sort of amplify the dinginess just by the lighting techniques, and that's a way to sort of influence the mood of the film itself. It is not a film for those who are averse to violence. It's a very, very violent film, much like Westerns are, and some of the depictions of brutality they're quite bad. So if you're not someone that tolerates violence or guts, this is not a recommendation I would have for you. But if you are into thinking, and I mean, there are a ton of moments here where not everything is wrapped up as like a traditional Western might be. It's not one of those heroic tales with a happy ending for every party involved. That's all I'll say about that. It's something that's going to stick with you probably once you're done watching it, and it's just terrifically made. Every facet of it is stunning, and I really enjoy it. So that's the first film that I have for you, No Country for Old Men, which again you can find on Hoopla. You just have to create an account. It's really easy to do. We're thinking right now, it's just in the preliminary stages, but we would like to kind of keep offering recommendations. I know my friend and colleague Tom, who works at Circulation, is going to hop on as well and give you a couple of his reviews. Again, I think because these auxiliary platforms are so popular right now, Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, Hulu, we could also kind of branch out into recommendations for those. If any of you guys are interested, this is probably boring you to tears at this point, so I don't know if anyone's going to listen. But if you're interested and you have recommendations, you have suggestions, comments, concerns, you can just reach out to the library and everything will get relayed to me. So I'm happy to do this as long as you're interested. Go watch No Country for Old Men. Tell me what you think. It won a bunch of awards, so that's sufficient enough. Disregard everything I say if that's the only thing you take away from it. And again, I hope everyone's safe, and I look forward to seeing everybody soon in person. All right, thank you.